Well, well, well. How the hell is everybody? Man, it has been a long time since I've done one of these here in what was known as the padded cell. I'm in my basement, my own basement, by the way. It's not my mom's basement. I'm here in my basement, and it's an unfinished basement. So you're looking at the insulation. And so people got to when I used to do my mixed martial arts streams long ago, people used to call it that. They used to call it the padded cell. So it got to be a thing. And I had t-shirts made up and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, that so and I've been off YouTube for a while, and I'm back to ramping it up. And so I probably got some. In fact, I know I have some new subscribers. So welcome to all of you. It's a bit of an eclectic thing now. I'm not just covering mixed martial arts anymore. I'm actually kind of away from that. I still follow it loosely, but I'm into a lot of other things. And just a little bit about me. I'm a former reporter, newspaper reporter. I covered crime and emergency news for 25 years. And about 2.5 years ago, I got out of that and got into public relations full time. So that's what I do right now. So that's why I renamed the channel Recovering Reporter, and I borrowed that phrase from somebody else, but that's me. I'm a recovering reporter because it's almost like you need to detox once you become a reporter, and then or once you are a reporter and then you leave that profession, you kind of have to detoxify from the whole thing. So that's what some of my videos have been about. My commentary on what's going on in society and looking at it from a former reporter's point of view, and also now with a kind of a public relations lens, if you will. But I'm also into lots of other things, as you've probably seen from my videos. I've been doing some work in the backyard with a couple of axes that I have, throwing the axes and hitting water jugs and things like that. So I'm into that kind of thing, and I've been getting into a little bit of cutlery, just collecting, and concerts. I go to concerts. I'm a big fan of rock and roll, heavy metal. I grew up in the '80s, so that's what I was raised on, and that's what I love. And there's still a lot of bands out there. There's some up and coming bands, and then of course some of the old bands are still hanging around. Like I've seen Ace Frehley, I saw Jeff Tate from Queensryche, a kind of a newer band called Tokyo Motor Fist. They were pretty good. I've seen Vince Neil from Motley Crue, Stephen Pearcy from Rat. So I've seen a lot of the guys that have been around for a long time, but yeah, also some newer bands as well that I'm really excited about, and I hope to cover a bit of that on this channel. And also, let's see what else. Of course, I'm still working out. I'm still really into fitness. I'm 53 years old, so I ain't getting any younger. So I still, I still keep up. I go to the gym practically every day. I probably take one day off per week. So I'm really dedicated to that, and I'm really a firm believer in that working out. That is a form of therapy. It really is. It can be, and it's a way of life. It's something that you dedicate yourself to, and you just integrate it into your life, and it becomes a part of you, and therefore you just you love it, and you want to do it every day. That's the way it is for me. That's the way it's been for me since I was like 13 years old. So I'm 53 now, so it's 40 years now. But yeah, if anybody wants to talk about anything, it's kind of an ask me anything. It's kind of an ask me anything. I'm nothing is really off limits within reason. It is YouTube after all. But yeah, so that's those are the kind of some of the videos that I've been doing recently. The axe work in the backyard, the concert videos, um, and some other things. What else? What are some of my other hobbies besides that? Working out. I like to do a little fishing every now and then. There's this one fish that I've been trying to catch for a long time. I think it's called a mirrored carp, um, and I haven't been able to catch it. But so I think the way I'm going to be able to do it is because it's not biting on anything that I've used. I think I'm going to have to get a casting net, and throw that out there. This one place that I know of, and hopefully I can catch it that way. But that's I like being outdoors and going fishing every now and then. Um, Writing, I'm a writer. As a newspaper reporter, like I said, for 25 years. So if you have any questions about writing, certainly like to talk about that subject. I'm actually working on a project right now. I call it a project. It's a book. Working on a book. Yeah, this lighting is kind of weird, isn't it? We can do this, or we're gonna do this. I don't know. I feel like I'm under. I'm being interrogated right now. It's like the one light that shines, a light bulb that shines in your face. Um, but yeah, I'm actually working on a book right now. I am, and I'm not afraid to say it. Some authors don't want to jinx themselves by talking about a book, and but I don't really believe in that, and I feel the more people I tell about it, the more it's going to motivate me to continue writing it, because I've got I'd say about 200 pages right now, and that's about where I want to keep it. But I need to polish it. I need to refine it. I've got all the chapters planned out, but they've not. But not all the chapters have been fleshed out. So some of it's kind of broken and choppy. So I'm working through that right now. But it's going to be about the media. It's going to be about the media and how the relationship between the media and the American public has really been broken. And I think we've seen that. You could probably anybody could probably think of many examples right off the top of your head. Excuse me, examples of how that relationship has been broken over. I mean, really, just if you could just look at the past few years, and you could see that the bond that was once enjoyed by the media, between the media and the American public, it's really been broken, and has been eroded. And some would say it's irreparable. I say possibly not. I'd say that there might be a way to repair it, and that's what the book's about. So I'm really excited about it. I think it's my hope that it's going to be a success. It's going to be a successful book, and I'm certainly once I finish it, I'm certainly going to do everything I can to get the word out there about it. But I did want to share that with you as kind of a preview. So hopefully at some point, well, not I'm not even going to say hopefully, in 2024, my book will be published. It will be published, and so you got to think positively. You got to think the power of positive thinking. Um, right, we're gonna what do they call that? It's a law of attraction, right? All that kind of stuff. We're gonna attract it. We're gonna imagine it, and we're going to imagine that it will happen. We're gonna will it into existence. So in 2024, cat over here. In 2024, I will, in fact, publish my book. Publish and successfully market my book. There you go. So yeah, that's a very exciting thing for me. And yeah, I've already got a couple of concerts lined up for 2024. I'm gonna see John 5. John and the number 5. He is the new lead guitarist for Motley Crue. But he's also a hell of a performer on his own. I was supposed to see him. He was supposed to open up for Yngwie Malmsteen earlier this year, and for whatever reason, he couldn't make the gig. And so I missed out on seeing him then, but he's going to come back to this area in 2024. So I'm really excited to see John 5 early next year. And so it's just solo. I don't know if he's got a backup band or if it's just gonna be him. I don't care. The guy is fantastic. I found out about him. I know he's played with Marilyn Manson. He's played with Rob Zombie, but I really know his work from David Lee Roth, the original singer from Van Halen. For all you youngins out there, yeah. So he and David Lee Roth cut a record in 1998, and it was just called DLR Band. The DLR Band. That was the name of the record. It's pretty hard to miss. It's the cover is red, white, and blue. It's the American flag, and then there's a picture of what is her name? Betty Page, the old pinup model Betty Page. So that's the front cover of it, and John 5 plays on that. He does a lot of solos on that record, and it's great fun. It's a great record. So that's how I got to know John 5. Anyway, so I'm going to see John 5. And then also, I think that's in February. And then in March, Judas Priest. Judas Priest is coming to this area. So I'm going to see them. I've just then heard that KK's Priest. So what happened was KK Downing, who was one of the original members of Judas Priest, he was one of the lead guitarists. He left Judas Priest and he formed his own band called KK's Priest. So you've got Judas Priest touring and you've got KK's Priest touring. So I'm going to try to see KK's Priest as well, because they play in their sets, in their live sets, they play some of the same songs. You know, like Green Manalishi, they both play that one, and there's some other ones that both bands play. So I'm just kind of curious. I'm interested to know who does it better. Who does it better? I really do like. I mean, obviously, you have to pay homage to the originators, but I really do like KK's Priest as well. Tim Ripper Owens is the lead singer. He was once a part of Judas Priest. He filled in, or he succeeded Rob Halford for a while, for a few years, and then Halford returned to the band. So Ripper Owens, loves the music. He knows the music, and he still has a hell of a voice. His voice is downright amazing. Rob Halford, Rob Halford's probably 20 plus years older than Ripper Owens. And I mean, that's time does that to all of us. His voice is not quite what it was, but still, I think it's going to be a great show. The Judas Priest show is going to be in an arena that only seats like 7,500 people. So you really can't have a bad seat in the house. It's not like you go to an arena or a stadium, 25,000 or 70,000 seater arena where you're way in the nosebleeds. You got to figure in an arena that only seats 7,500. There can't really be a bad seat in the house. And then KK's Priest, that show is going to be it's basically a bar. It's basically like a small club or a bar setting. So that is going to be crazy if I can get to that show, KK's Priest. But yeah, so I just figured I'd start this live stream since I got up to 6,000 subscribers. I was down quite a bit, lower than that. And then I started ramping things up with the YouTube shorts and doing the axe work and uploading some of the concert videos and things like that. Just showing what I'm into. It's not just MMA anymore. This is kind of an eclectic mix. It's all TED, but it's an eclectic mix of things. And so I just wanted to kind of display that and see if anybody out there was interested. And lo and behold, I did get some takers. I got some new subscribers, and I appreciate that very much. And so I kind of made like a mental note, or I made a kind of a vow to myself. I said, if I hit 6,000 subscribers, I'm going to do a live. I'm going to do a live YouTube live stream for whoever's out there, and they can ask me anything, talk about anything, and yeah. So it looks like, okay, I'm looking over here, and this is like a new setup. So I'm learning as I go. I see there are a couple of comments here. So thumbs up, man. So Ted, long time. I know, watch you. Possibly last time was before the pandemic. Yeah, you're probably right. Yeah. So thanks, man. I appreciate it. Yeah, and that's cool. Catch you later, bro. I appreciate you tuning in for the time that you did. And yeah, so this is this is kind of an ask me anything, talk about anything. We can talk about politics. We can talk about sports. I really don't. I tell you, the sports I follow are not the typical. I do follow football a little bit, American football. I follow that a little bit, but the other sports are more. Um, yeah, Sandeep Singh missed the UFC lives. Yeah, I know. I know I got to a point where the pay-per-views were very, very expensive. They just kept raising the rates on the pay-per-views. And um, sometimes it's tough to find people locally who are into them. Like it's better to get some friends together and then everybody kind of pitches in and buys the pay-per-view. That's to me, that's the ideal way to do it. And that just got to be a little bit more difficult. But as far as sports, yeah, I still enjoy MMA. I've also been getting into this the slapping. Was it the whatever the UFC slap fight? I think they call it slap fight. Dana White got the great idea. He had seen that slapping, other people were slapping um, around the world. The Russians were doing it. So Dana White from the UFC set up his own slap fight organization. So I've been getting into that. They're kind of doing like an Ultimate Fighter thing where they got the guys in the house and they compete and all that. So that's kind of interesting. It's kind of interesting. Um, but yeah, and I still keep up with MMA a little bit, but I also enjoy, the occasional kickboxing bout, grappling, and arm wrestling. I do enjoy some a good arm wrestling match, and even a little bit of bodybuilding every now and then. Even though I think it's kind of getting out of hand now. I wish it was back to the golden age, but we see some of that with the physique. C Bum, Chris Bumstead. But anyway, yeah. But to get back to your question, Sandeep, I keep up with the UFC, with MMA a little bit. I've been following the whole Sean Strickland, that whole thing with what was that guy's name? The dude the really tall guy. He's a tall, skinny guy, and then he married the woman who, and she was a bit older than him. They had a kid together, and then he took like her last name. Some kind of weird dynamic there. I kind of was following that a little bit. So I follow some of the major guys. Um, Sean Strickland, Sean O'Malley. Yeah, so I follow some of the major stories, but I don't obsess over it the way I used to. And that was kind of a that was kind of a decision on my part. I kind of got too obsessed with it. I think it is possible to do that. We see that in life. It's possible to get too obsessed with things and to lose sight of other things in life. And it's all a balance, right? It's all a balance. Your job, maybe you have more than one job. I know I do. I've got a part-time job and a full-time job, and then you balance that out with family and then doing things for yourself. So it's a lot. It's a lot to balance. But yeah, thumbs up, man. Yeah, you watched Mr. Olympia. Yeah, but I think it is. The I kind of struggle with it because the open division. You want to see the freaks. You want to see and you have your favorites, who you think is going to win, who you think is where people are going to place. So at the end of the day, it's a competition. I mean, people call it a beauty contest for men, but at the end of the day, it's a competition. So you want to see that. If you're into anything competitive, you want to see who's going to win, who you think is going to win, if who you think is going to win will really win. You know. But I think it is kind of getting out of hand, the open division, with the synthol. That's that oil that they inject, particularly into the deltoid muscle right here. They do a lot of that to appear wider, but then it ends up looking unnatural. Most of the time you can spot it. when somebody's been shooting synthol, or they, I think guys have even done it into their legs. It's like a sight enhancement, I guess they call it. But yeah, so that's kind of getting out of hand. So I don't know. I guess the other division is to watch out for is the classic. Yeah, the classic division, the one with Chris Bumstead. And who knows if he's still going to be around. I mean, he's won what, 4 or 5 Mr. Olympias, so he might retire soon. He just got a hair transplant. That's pretty crazy. Thumbs up. Hadi Chupon has his synthol in his delts. Yeah, that's a widely held opinion, and people think that he didn't win the Olympia. What was it? 3 years ago, he didn't win it. He lost because he had the synthol. The judges knocked it down. So it's like 3 years ago, he didn't. The next year he came back, he won it. And then this year he lost to Derek Lunsford. So yeah, Lunsford was second the previous year to Hadi when Hadi won it. And now Lunsford is Mr. O. Yeah, and I seem to think, or I think that Big Ramy, his legs are so huge, but they're the front, when he poses to the front, it's not always that defined, and it really looks like he's been using some synthol, to get that huge quad sweep that he has, but then it ends up kind of blurring all of his cuts in his legs. That's just, I don't know if I've ever heard anyone say that, but I think that that the former Mr. Olympia there, has put a lot of that into his legs. Big Ramy. Yeah. So it's some pretty crazy stuff. I mean, it's always, steroids have always been the kind of the dirty little secret that's not really a secret in bodybuilding, um, and they just, the bodybuilders have ramped up their usage of it over the years, and it to the point now where it's kind of out of hand. I mean, yeah, Arnold used it back in the day, but not nearly to the degree. And you look at his physique, and you can marvel at Arnold Schwarzenegger's physique because he had that slim waist. He had the broad shoulders and the slim waist. And legs. His legs, by today's standards, you could say they were underdeveloped. But I mean, he was almost 6'2", 6'1.5", almost 6'2", and his competition weight was about 236 pounds. Nowadays, if you're in the open division and you're 6'2", you're gonna need to weigh in excess of 300 pounds, way over 300 pounds. 320, 330. If you're 6'2", you'd have to be, in order to compete with the shorter guys. Like a Nick Walker, who is 5'7" and steps on stage at about 265. Just think about that. 5'7", 265 pounds, and that is, at whatever body fat percentage, 4% body fat. Nick Walker can get up to 300 pounds in the off season. Not very healthy at all. It's not very healthy. I'm proud to say I'm natural, 100% natural, always have been, always will be. I do take some over-the-counter, natural supplements. I'm 53 years old, so I take fish oil and I take some other things, but that's stuff you can buy at the grocery store. So I'm proud of that. That's the way I always want to be. I know some people, when they reach my age and when they get into their thumbs up, they got the gift of gab. Yeah, it just comes fairly naturally to me. But kind of just, you try to just flow from one topic to the next and see where it leads you. But yeah, some guys get on TRT, testosterone replacement therapy, TRT. What is TRT for those who don't know? I mean, it's steroids, but it's legal steroids. Steroids prescribed by a doctor. So it's not the back alley stuff that you're going to get, on the street that might be dirty or whatever, or God knows what's in it. So it's going to be, clinically clean, if you will, and prescribed by a doctor. So it's a certain amount, a smaller amount probably than what bodybuilders are taking, or professional athletes. But but it is steroids. It is steroids. So I don't want to ever get to that point. I don't want to ever get on TRT, because from what I know, once you get on it, you can't get off of it. You have to continue using it. And I don't want to be tied down by that. Your natural testosterone. The other thing is your natural testosterone ceases to your body's production of natural testosterone stops working. So you have to continue to take TRT. And that's I don't want to be in that position. So I'm going to do everything I can to do things naturally, just eat the right foods, hit the gym hard, and smart, train hard, train smart, and just continue to research supplements that are natural. The supplements, like I said, that are over the counter. You can buy them in a grocery store, and that occur naturally. And many of them are plant based. Or I think they all are. They're plant based. So I'm just going to keep going forward with that, and just work my ass off, and hopefully be an inspiration to other people out there. Stick with it. It's a great way to relieve stress, and it's iron therapy, as a lot of people would say, iron therapy. Yeah. So, and I love coffee too. I love coffee. I can drink coffee at night, late at night, and go right to bed. That's, I guess, another gift, if you will. Yeah, I can drink it, and I have no problem getting to bed. I've been doing that for years. So it just really doesn't have any effect on me. I guess I just drink it for the taste now, but a lot of times I'll drink it black. I'll put milk in it. I usually say milk, like MELK, but a lot of people correct me and they say, no, it's milk. Oh, okay. But anyway, sometimes I drink it black. Sometimes I drink it with milk. But yeah, man. So I will continue. I'm going to continue to crank out the YouTube videos. YouTube really wants people. They've really been encouraging, shall I say, encouraging people to do the shorts, YouTube shorts, because I believe it's their answer to TikTok. I don't ever want to use TikTok. I don't trust it. So I figured, well, hell, I'll start doing the YouTube shorts. That's what they're pushing. That's, hopefully, the more I do them, the more they'll catch on to the algorithm and whatever, and more people will see it. So I continue to crank out the YouTube shorts, and maybe I'll continue to do these live videos. I think hopefully, as my channel continues to grow, hopefully this will catch on, and we can get a conversation going here about whatever. But what else was I gonna say? Oh yeah. So and the other thing is, I've hit 6,000 subscribers, but I gotta tell you this, I am in the YouTube doghouse. I had some copyright strikes, I admit it, and I messed up. So I'm in the YouTube doghouse. So there's a lot that I have to do in order to get out of that doghouse, and I'm willing to do that. I'm willing to put in the time and the work to do that. So yeah, that's what this is all about as well. Because I want to be able to eventually, I want to be able to monetize this channel again. And in order to do that, I got to get out of the YouTube doghouse, and it's going to take a lot of time and effort, but I'm going to do it. Tofin, you're asking, am I looking forward to UFC 300? Hell yeah. Hell yes, I am. Conor McGregor is on that card, and I don't know. You know what? I have to look at who else is on the card. I don't want to break away from this stream, but I do have the phone here. So let's take a look at the card real quick. UFC 300. Oh, and the first headline is Chael Sonnen torches matchmaking at UFC 300. Why are they doing this? What does he mean by that? So Chael Sonnen, and he calls it like it is, likes it is. He doesn't pull any punches, Chael Sonnen. So he's got a problem with the matchmaking, I guess. You would think this would be a very big fight. Brundage versus Bo Nickel. Bo Nickel. Yeah, Bo Nickel is a great prospect. We can't really say he's a prospect. He's fought, I think, twice in the UFC. So he's quickly becoming a force. He's been very impressive so far. He was a tremendous collegiate athlete, wrestler for Penn State. So we shall see how this works out. So I guess Chael Sonnen has a problem with Bo Nickel's fight. Let's see who else. I saw something about Michael Page. You mean the guy that used to be in Bellator that racked up all those? He just was beating up tomato cans, and then he just lost in bare knuckle fighting. Michael Page versus Kevin Holland. Yeah, that is not a good matchup for Page. But and Tofin's saying, I don't think he's confirmed. I guess he's talking about Connor. Dana promises a banger. So let's see if we do have the fight card so far. What do we have on the fight card so far? Okay, light heavyweight. Jiri Prochaska versus Alexander Rakic. Featherweight, Aljamain Sterling versus Calvin Cutter. Bo Nickel versus Cody Brundage. Yeah, I'm not too familiar with Brundage. He's got 10 wins, 5 losses. So record. So those are the ones I guess that are confirmed so far. Just those 3, but I'm sure there are lots of okay, now I'm looking on the official UFC website. Jiri Prochaska, Alexander Rakic, Calvin Cotter versus Aljamain Sterling, and Bo Nickel versus Cody Brundage. I'm glad that Bo Nickel is fighting again because he took a little bit of a layoff, and he said he might. He said it was like 4 months ago the last time he fought, 4 or 5, maybe even more, and he was like, you know what, I'm okay with not fighting until 2024. So he's taking his time. I get it. He doesn't want to rush things too much. But I don't see any other official fights here. Tofin, you're saying, I'm pretty sure Dana mentioned a super fight is going to go down. Hey, you know what? It's UFC 300. It needs to be big. It needs to be the biggest card that they've ever had. We had UFC 200 100 shows ago. And that, as I remember, that was a bit of a disappointment on a few different levels. Brock Lesnar, as I recall, was the headliner against Mark Hunt. He won, but then I believe that fight was overturned. The decision or the outcome was overturned. Was it because of something Lesnar did? I don't want to speak out of turn here, but I think that was the case. And also, yeah, just there were other matches, other matchups, other fights that I don't know, I guess could have been, but didn't happen on that card on UFC 200. So 300, I'm not saying the UFC has to make up for that one. That was 100 fights ago. But just the number 300, it needs to be big. It needs to be the biggest card they've ever had, top to bottom, from the prelims on up. It needs to be a huge card. And I mean, once you make the fights, you can't guarantee that they're going to be exciting. But we need to have big fights on this. We need to have lots of big fights. And the other thing that soured me on the UFC for UFC 200 was the price. They were like, "Oh yeah, we're going to charge a little extra, because it's UFC 200." But then the idea was, I think, it was just for UFC 200. But it was the bait and switch. They kept that price at the higher price point. Once UFC 200 was done and we moved on to 201, as I recall, they continued the high price point. So that was a bit of a disappointment. Pay-per-views is just out of control. For the UFC, what is it now? Like 75, 80 bucks for a UFC pay-per-view? That's just out of hand. And especially if you just watch what you're paying for, which is the main card. You're only getting 5 fights. Basically, you're on from 10 p.m. to midnight. So it's like 2 hours. You're paying for 5 fights for 2 hours. And that's another thing that got me, and kind of why I stopped covering the UFC, covering MMA the way that I did was, you pay 70, 75, 80 bucks for pay-per-view. And like I said, the UFC is not responsible if there are shitty fights. But you watch enough shitty fights and you're like, damn, I spent all this money for shitty fights. I don't think I'm going to do this again. So yeah, like I said, there are a number of reasons why I kind of soured on the UFC. Also, people like Connor and John Jones, they just kept getting in trouble, getting busted for this and that and everything else. Then the UFC would just give them a slap on the wrist and welcome them back with open arms because they're the moneymakers. They're putting asses in the seats. So they get treated differently. It's a 2-tiered justice system, So I really wasn't into that either, to tell you the truth. But I mean, it's still an exciting sport. I still like it. I still respect it, and I still will watch it from time to time. But usually it's like, let's go out to Buffalo Wild Wings and watch it. I haven't ordered a pay-per-view in years. Yeah, but as you can see with this channel, the new and improved TED Czech channel, now called Recovering Reporter, it's kind of an eclectic mix. It's everything that I'm into, which is talking about the issues of the day from a former journalist, current public relations practitioner point of view, and then also the stuff that I do outside with the axes, working out, concert videos, anything that interests me, cutlery, folding knives, things like that. Anything that interests me, any of my hobbies, I'm gonna put forth here on this channel. So I don't want to limit myself to one niche. I know a lot of people have a lot of success with that. They have a lot of success they find a niche and they stick with it, and that's great. But I'm not going to do that because I'm not most people. So I'm going to do what I want to do. And if you're along for the ride, welcome. That's awesome. If you're not, that's cool too. So it's not just going to be one thing. People are not going to come here for just one. Well, maybe they'll come here for one thing, but it's going to be a lot of things. So hopefully everybody enjoys it. I know I'm enjoying it. I'm having a great time. Yeah, thank you, Tofin. So here we are at about the 40-minute mark. And so I think I'm gonna cut it from here and say thanks to everybody that showed up. I appreciate it. And I will probably do this again. I'll try to do this once a week. I think that's a fairly reasonable goal. You know, I'd like to do it. I'd like to do it once a week. You know, for about this length of time. Nothing too long. Just long enough. Not too short. Not too long. Just right. Just right in that area, right there. So, all right. Thanks so much, everybody. I appreciate it, and I will talk to you soon.